Welcome back, Warriors, to yet another Battlefield 2042 video. I'm your commanding officer, Major Doodleman149, and today I'll be discussing the opening battle of this conflict, Operation Open Beta. I'll be delving into the good and bad of this operation. I'm going to warn you all, this scale is heavily leaning in one direction. I'll provide my experiences and then my feelings about those experiences. Let's not waste any of your valuable time though, recruits. Let's see what your CO has to say about Operation Open Beta. As a disclaimer, I just want to let you all know that Twitch and Xbox do not allow me to make clips or streams of Battlefield 2042's open beta. That is why I'm using stock footage from the trailers that have already been released. First off, I will begin with the positives of this operation. Graphically, the battlefield looks very good. The character models look pretty smooth but are nowhere near the quality of Modern Warfare, a title that still retains its position as the best looking military shooter in recent memory. Map sizes are large and varied enough for it to feel like a classic Battlefield operation, and I'm still on last-gen hardware. The shooting mechanics feel appropriately slow, and there is notable bullet travel time, so it feels like a former operation in terms of gunplay. And lastly, there is a number of varied vehicles that offer a number of ways to traverse the battlefield. Now, Warriors, we enter into the longer portion of this briefing, the red flags from this operation. For starters, even getting to the battlefield seems to be a logistical nightmare. I understand why this operation is titled the way it is, but when I can't get in contact with the brass to enter the fight, or when my time in the field is cut short because I can't maintain contact with DICE, this is a problem. In my first deployment alone, I was disconnected from HQ and couldn't get into a match on multiple occasions, and my first deployment was also halted unexpectedly due to another lack of communication with HQ. I know this isn't the smoothest of operations by design, but given we only have 4 days to test the enemy's strength, any lost time is time wasted. I personally found enemies rather hard to distinguish from the background, especially once the weather started taking a turn on Orbital. When the lights go out, everything is very muddy. But this may be by design for realism. However, that does hinder moment-to-moment gunfights. Weapons do not sound great, at all. Anyone who's fired a weapon knows that this audio is lacking. I saw a ridiculous lack of specialist diversity during this initial deployment. Granted, only 4 operators have been sent into this conflict, but I was hoping to at least see all 4 of them at some point. I primarily saw Websters and Caspers out there. Boris was an uncommon sight, and I can't say I'd seen one member of the Falk family the entire time. Maybe because they're all too old to be fighting in this war anyway. On that note, the enemy must have some sort of cloning technology, because when I drop onto an objective and start firing at the enemy, seeing my own face reflected back at me gave me pause and was something I was concerned about before this operation even began. Specialist abilities are just as lackluster and limiting as I had anticipated. The fact that you have one gadget means that you have to choose between a medic bag, an ammo crate, or a rocket amongst other items means that you essentially end up with Battlefield 4 classes just with fewer gadgets. Where before you could run a number of rocket launchers and mines or a repair tool, now you have to choose between literally any anti-vehicle capabilities and any manner of squad play. If you want to be able to shoot rockets, you now can't repair friendly vehicles. If you want to resupply team ammo, you can't run C4. These specialists are as limited and poorly deployed as I expected. The quartermaster back at base really fucked things up in this department. He needs to be replaced with someone who knows how to effectively kit and supply his soldiers. Tank controls are shit. If any of you have played any Battlefield game, specifically Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 1, these tank controls will have you leaving those vehicles behind as soon as you hop into them. There's a problem when the gunner positions on a tank are more effective at everything than the main driver is. The turret turns painfully slow, and that has nothing to do with my sensitivity. I can have the camera turn completely behind myself and the turret won't even rotate to meet my gaze. Tanks need to be sent back to the manufacturer and need to be seriously reworked. My last complaint is that honestly, the time period we find ourselves in is largely irrelevant to the gameplay. None of these weapons or vehicles, aside from maybe the VTOL, feel futuristic at any point. Everything is just a generic lead spitter and the setting is something that isn't exactly tantalizing. I wasn't expecting space or sci-fi elements, but where's all the high-tech gadgets that we should be equipping our soldiers with? This could easily be just another modern, soulless military shooter. So, overall, how do I feel about this operation? It certainly feels like operations of the past in terms of scale and weapon usability, but vehicles are lacking and need to go back to the manufacturer. This looks like it should feel like Battlefield, but it also doesn't feel like it. It's pretty contradictory. Overall, this operation could have been handled better. So that is all, Warriors. I've expressed my opinions on the state of our initial engagement, and I'm sure that most of these criticisms aren't going to be popular or well received. I only have Xbox One X experiences, so feel free to share your experiences. I love to hear what my company has to say about this operation. What do you think of our initial deployment? In conclusion, if you felt your CO has done an adequate job today in this briefing, then please hit that thumbs up and subscribe button in the bottom right of your HUD to never miss out on more of my coverage of Battlefield 2042. And with that, I've been your CO, Major Doodleman 149, and until our next briefing, you are all dismissed!